Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing? No, I'm joking. I hope you guys are doing really well. I just wanted to show you this here. Da, 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 da. This is the Philidendron Brazil. So this here is Philodendron heteraceum variegata, also known as the Philidendron Brazil, as I just said. It's essentially just a heartleaf philodendron with a little bit of yellow variegation. I have almost a half moon leaf there. Isn't that beautiful? It comes in really striking variations. So even though it's called the Philodendron Brazil, this variation first appeared in the Caribbean and Central America, where this plant is native to. It's almost synonymous with Philodendron scandens, although Philodendron scandens has a different cataphyll. The internodes are a little different, and it has a little bit more of a fatter leaf. By fatter, I mean it's a little bit more succulent, so it's more related to the Heartleaf Philodendron or Philodendron, I just forgot the name, Heteraceum. So this is a vining plant. You can also train it up to grow up trellises. It's a very trendy plant right now, I think. The stems can get like 10, 12, even 15 feet long. I had a bigger one of these not long ago, but I gave it away to a friend. So yeah, if you want a very, very good propagator, this plant here does really well with node cuttings. If you're gonna take node cuttings, I recommend going back. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that branch that's kind of going from the center of the pot, crossing over and going towards the, I guess for you guys it would be the left of the screen. That's kind of the smallest cutting you want, in my opinion, to get like a full plant. Plus, these here, when they're propagated in commercial settings, usually they put like 10, 12 cuttings in the bottom. If you're gonna transplant these with cuttings, put as many as possible. This is a situation where less is more doesn't really apply. More is more when it comes to philodendrons. So that'll give you a fuller appearance right off the bat if you put many cuttings into one pot. This plant here does pretty well in basic, everyday average humidity within the household, so about 60% ambient humidity, even as low as 50-54%. It likes bright light. I know that these are sold as low light plants, plants that are tolerant of low light, but you really have to worry about leaves reverting back to their original color, to the jade heart-shaped heartleaf philodendron. This particular leaf here is a good example of that. So this here has basically just reverted back to its normal color. You can clip that away and create your own regular colored plant, or you can trim it back to where you see the next variegation to preserve the variegation. It should be fine. An interesting thing I noticed about this plant is you can actually spontaneously get variegation out of leaves that have completely lost their variegation, at least in my experience, which is really weird. It seems to be systematic throughout the whole plant. Another thing I will say is this here is a plant that you'll already see the variegation showing when the leaf is tender and new. They're almost kind of like a translucent lime green, almost borderline gold color when they first come out, in my opinion. But yeah, the variegation immediately presents itself, so it's not something that really sets in. That's the variegation you're going to get on that leaf as it matures. Problems. Let's talk about problems with this plant. You can get a little bit of leaf burn. Mine doesn't seem to have any at the moment. You can get a little bit of scale. You can get fungus gnats. This one had lots of fungus gnats. I just kept it really dry. This plant likes to go almost bone dry between waterings. I water this one every Saturday. And it looks really good in pots. Just make sure you have really good drainage holes in the bottom. Wait until the pot's pretty light until you water it again, or you can just stick your finger in and do the test that way. If you stick your pointer finger into the soil and it's like completely dry up to your second knuckle, that means it's time to water. That's kind of how I judge it. What else should I say? It's a blooming plant. It produces a spadix and a spathe. It's in the Araceae family. Behaves a lot like a pothos, specifically the jade pothos. If you grow this up a moss pole, or if you train it to grow up a trellis, the leaves will get bigger. If you let it hang, the leaves will generally get a little bit smaller. Just one thing I've noticed, if you want to encourage branching and get a bushier plant, just routinely trim it. There's no real particular time of the year where you can't trim this plant. It seems to respond well at any time of the year. If you're gonna give it a liquid feed fertilizer, I recommend giving it frequent feedings, as in every time you water, but about half of the strength recommended on the package. So you want it to be a little bit more diluted, and your plant should be really happy with you. They're really good for giving it to friends, and they just look really majestic when they start trailing. They have these really nice aerial roots. Not sure if you can see that, but yeah, I really like the Philodendron Brazil. It's not from Brazil, so I'm guessing it's called the Philodendron Brazil just because the leaves resemble the flag of Brazil, I'm guessing. Maybe it's naturalized there. I don't know, I'm just guessing there. You can get almost white variegation on these two. It's not strictly, like you can almost get albal variegation. It's not strictly yellow. I've noticed some leaves will just surprise you. Not edible. Although I don't think it's overly toxic, but just don't eat it. I use it as an ornamental plant, and I recommend you guys too. It likes really airy soils. Cocoa coir. This also grows really well in leca. Water propagation is good too, just as long as once it gets a little bit more established and advanced, you transfer it into a soil growing media, because they don't like to be put in water for too long. And what else should I say about this plant? It needs a little bit more light than the regular jade, Heartleaf Philodendron, just because it doesn't produce as much chlorophyll because of those variegated bits. And yeah, very easy plant. Care out of 10. I'm going to put it at like a 2 out of 10. Super easy to take care of. It can be pretty slow growing, but when you give it what it likes, each vine could put on this particular one could put on a foot this year. But just keep in mind, if you're not giving it enough light, it'll grow a lot slower for you. It'll almost go dormant. Another thing that I really want to say about this plant is you'll notice it'll be a little droopy, and the leaves will get a little bit less thick when it needs water. They'll lack a little bit of luster to them. They'll go a little bit pale. It's definitely a pretty vocal plant. It tells you when it needs water, and yeah, don't really know what else to say about it. Philidendron Brazil, really, really good propagator. Wonderful member of the philodendron family. It climbs. Uh, it does produce peg roots and adventitious roots that could be a problem if you're growing it on a wall, but it's not very aggressive, not like a heterohelix or like an ivy. Um, yeah, this here is pretty close to mature size of the leaves. They can get a little bit bigger, especially if you have them growing upwards. And yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say on this one. I really love this plant. I really love you guys. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed. Have a wonderful day, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. And yeah, till next time. See ya.